My name is Kenny and welcome to Assessing Your Training System, or ASSETS. Many of us have been exposed to music or musical notation. We join choirs, singing groups, or perhaps we audition for musicals or some singing stint that requires note reading. Now, how many of us actually understand music notation? Do you understand even words like crotchet, semibreve, quaver, minim, or semiquaver? If I were to ask you to rank which is the biggest and which is the smallest in its order, would you be able to? If your answer was semibreve, you're right. What follows next is the minim, and then the crotchet, and then the quaver, and finally the semiquaver. If your child is of 4 or below and they were required to actually learn terms like this, I think it might be a bit too challenging for them to remember terms like this when they study for music exams or take theory papers. So, what's a better approach? My suggestion is to do the American way, the fraction theory. Pretend you have a whole pizza. This pizza is representative of a note like this. This will be called a whole note. And the way we derive the other notes is to actually divide them proportionately by 2. So if I tell my kids, slice the pizza into 2, this region then becomes half. So deriving the same note from this, we now have what we call a stem. And because we divided this by 2, the whole note now becomes a half note. If we divide again by 2, this then becomes 1/4. Deriving it from here, this is now shaded black. Half divided by 2 will then be called a quarter note. So far so good? If we divide the pizza again by 2, then this region now becomes 1/8. And so we take it from here. This quarter note now has a tail shooting out, which looks like this. And this will be called an 1/8 note. If I divide again by 2, we will then have, instead of 1 tail, we'll have 2 tails. The 16th note. All these notations are absolute in their names. If you look at them, they will always be named the whole note, the half note, the quarter note, the 1/8 note, and the 16th note. If you take the ABRSM theory, this will actually be your semibreve. This will be your minim, crotchet, quaver, and semiquaver. Now, music has actually 3 components. Music is made up of rhythm, of harmony, and of course the melody. When we hear a pop song, all three of these components actually come into play. However, to be able to know is one thing. To be able to execute accurately is another. When we read notation, we must also be able to play it exactly at the right time, not at your own whim and fancy. Many times when I hear a song being played, like "Oh Clementine," that song, "Oh my darling," and you hear some people who see the notation, they start to go, and when they're not sure, they start to, which, okay, it sounds like "Oh Clementine," but is that the correct rhythm? Music has two types of meter. We have simple time as well as compound time. Rhythm on its own can only be dictated if there is a time signature. A time signature is two numbers given to you, and these two numbers actually have certain information that will tell you exactly how this song is being played. For instance, you might see things like 2-4, 3-8, 6-4, 12-8, and 4-4 as examples. What do these numbers mean?